Hi, my name is Abby and you're watching College 101 on UWW-TV, the show where we teach you tips and tricks to survive college. This week's episode is all about roommates. I'm here in an off-campus apartment with Angie, Megan, Emily, and Cora. Could you guys tell me a little bit about how you all met?
Well, I first met Angie on the UW Whitewater Class of 2024 Facebook page during the summer between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college. From there, we became very fast friends, and one night we invited Cora to go to dinner with us at Esker, where we got food, and essentially we've been friends ever since. The three of us lived together for some time, but then we wanted a fourth roommate for this coming school year. I met Megan in my sorority, and she was in my pledge class, and she said she needed a roommate too. So from there, we all signed, and now we live together.
How do you guys divide up your chores and responsibilities?
So we kind of do it where if you see that something needs to be done, just go ahead and do it. Don't leave it like sit. So if you see that the dishwasher needs to be emptied, then just go ahead and do it. And obviously people get busy and stuff, so we take turns kind of doing those things. And then we also have a tally chart where we can keep track of how many times people do certain things, so we can see if like one person is really doing a lot and some people aren't doing as much, and they can kind of see that and try to pick up their slack a little bit.
And how do you guys communicate as roommates?
Our main form of communication is we have a text group chat where we all talk about like if we have guests coming over, if there are chores that need to be done, or just what's going on in our lives.
And what's the big differences or a couple differences between living in the dorm and living off campus?
There's a lot more responsibility with living off campus because we have like bathrooms and the dishwasher and the oven and everything like that, and like more space. But it's nice because we have that space, our own rooms, and having a dishwasher is nice. We don't need to use the communal bathrooms and everything like that, and it's easier to cook too, so it's really nice.
What boundaries do you think are important to set with your roommates?
One thing that I think is really important is to let your roommates know before you have any sort of guest over, because it's just kind of common courtesy to let them know that someone is going to be coming into their space. So just letting them know ahead of time, or even asking them permission just out of respect if someone can come over, I think is something that's really important. And also just knowing and getting to know them and knowing what they like and what they dislike, what they're comfortable with, what they're not, and then not making them do something that they're uncomfortable with, and that's going to make them kind of live in an environment that isn't safe and happy for them to be in.
Well, thank you all for answering my questions. I'm here with Shelby and Emma in Fricker Hall. Could you tell me how you two met?
We met in grade school, and then we went to high school together, and then when we started working together, we decided we would be roommates in college.
And then how did you two divide up your chores and responsibilities?
So whenever we see that the trash is full, we just take it out, and then when we see there's a lot of dishes, just one of us does it, whoever makes the bigger mess.
What boundaries do you think are most important to set with your roommate?
I think the most important boundaries to set is communication. You always want to ask if you can have anybody over, or make sure they're not doing anything where you're going to interrupt their studying.
And then what are important things to keep in mind when picking a roommate?
I'd keep in mind if they're a respectful person. If they're a clean or messy person, you don't want somebody who's messy if you're a clean freak and always have to worry about their stuff.
And what's your favorite thing with having a roommate?
My favorite thing is always having somebody to talk to or hang out with, watch TV with, go to the dining halls.
My favorite thing about having a roommate is that I always have someone to keep me company and keep me on track when I'm either studying or doing homework, and just always someone to hang out with.
Well, thank you guys for answering my questions.
You're welcome.
What does it mean to be a warhawk?
It means allowing myself to dream big and think outside the box.
Pushing the limits of what I think is possible.
Seeing ideas through from start to finish.
Collaborating with professors and peers.
And seizing opportunities in the community to put my knowledge to use.
I'm studying abroad,
learning another language,
and listening to the stories of others.
I'm making lifelong friends and fearlessly sharing my gifts with the world.
As a warhawk, I stay balanced,
take great care of myself,
and get out of my comfort zone.
I refuse to let the past determine my future.
And I'm taking confident steps in the direction of my dreams.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
And other times it couldn't be more exciting.
But I will keep my goals in mind
and never quit.
Because
that's the warhawk way.
UWW-TV has been an important part of the campus and community since 1980.
Not only providing on-air learning opportunities for broadcast journalists and electronic media production students,
but educating and entertaining our audiences with award-winning news, live sports coverage, original programming,
as well as dedicating the mission to developing creative collaborations throughout campus.
For more information, visit our website and like us on Facebook.
Check us out because you gotta see what's on UWW-TV.
The UW Whitewater Bookstore is your one-stop shop for apparel, textbooks, and technology. Stop in for a wide selection of gifts from our alumni, family, and name brand sections. Need to purchase or rent a textbook? Head downstairs to Textbook Services. Check out our new custom shop and create personalized apparel for your organization. Need a charger, laptop, or headphones? Our new technology section has everything you might need. For more information and bookstore hours, visit uwwhitewaterbookstore.com.
Welcome to the Anderson Library, a destination that offers many things to students and other people.
At the library, there's a whole host of resources that you have. Support for your academics in terms of books, databases, other resources, that streaming videos that you're going to use for classes.
And we do pet therapy once a week, alternating Mondays and Tuesdays. So that is something that any and all students, staff, and community members can come in and join us for.
Well, on the main floor of the library, we have a big chess set, so that's pretty popular to have students come in, play chess. People get really into it. You can reserve a study room, or if it's just you're looking for something fun to do on the weekend, you can come check out our video games or our board games.
You can also come check out and get a snack at their cafe. There is plenty of things to do at the Anderson Library besides just studying. For more information about the library's events and other topics, go to uw.edu/library.
Now I'm in Lee Hall with Jillian. As an RA, what are the most common roommate conflicts?
There's a lot of roommate conflicts and they all kind of overlap. I would say the most common roommate conflict is like keeping a mess in the room. A lot of roommates fill out the roommate agreement at the beginning of the year and then they don't follow it. And one of the biggest things I see is complaints that my roommate is keeping things messy. They won't do their laundry, they won't shower, they stink, I don't want their stuff on my side of the room. And a lot of times there's petty arguments like that where it's like, well, their stuff is on my side and I don't want that. Another one is probably a lot of significant others like to stay the night. And with how tiny the dorm rooms are, it's like, I don't want your boyfriend here, I don't want your girlfriend here every night, I don't want all your friends here, it's so packed, I'm trying to sleep, I'm trying to study. So a lot of times it's, we have too many guests in a tiny little room and I'm unhappy. So a lot of the roommate conflicts are usually related to one of those two things.
And how would you handle one of those situations?
Well, usually a lot of roommates have issues communicating their boundaries with each other, so they'll fill out that roommate agreement and then they forget it exists. So a lot of times roommates will have an issue with their other roommate, they don't want to discuss it, they end up texting each other and get very petty, and then there's no communication. So the best way to talk to your roommate about things like your side is really messy is just to talk to them face to face and be gentle about it. You don't have to call names, you don't have to yell at each other, but just say like, hey, I would appreciate it if you picked up your stuff more. And if it escalates from there, like you can always go to your RA and talk to them about it because your RA is there to mediate roommate conflicts.
Could you tell me a little bit more about the housing agreement and the roommate agreement and why it's so important?
Yeah, the roommate agreement is something that a lot of people write off and they never want to do it. Technically, it's not required by housing to do, but we really want to push that on people because if you fill out the questionnaire, you have a set boundary, you have a set rule. So if there is a problem with your roommates later on, it's something easy to turn back to. You say, well, you're not picking up your stuff, or you're letting too many people over without asking me. We agreed at the beginning of the year right here that we can't do that. And then your roommate kind of has to agree with that. And if not, like I said before, you can go to your RA about it. That's what the RAs like to go back to the roommate agreement for. It really helps settle problems and conflicts.
And then is there a way for students who are looking for roommates to participate in like an event or anything?
Absolutely. It all depends on what complex you're interested in living in, but a lot of buildings have roommate mixers before you choose your room, before you choose the building you're going to be in. So I would keep an eye out for postings from specific dorm buildings for roommate mixers. I know a lot of classes like 2022, 2023 have Facebook pages as well where you can select roommates, or you can post things about yourself and say, hey, this is all the stuff I like to do. I like to stay up late, I like to play video games, and then you can match people from there.
Well, thank you for answering a few of my questions.
Yeah, no problem.
Now I'm in Tut Hall with Paige. Could you tell me a little bit about your experience with roommates?
Yeah, so I've had a pretty decent experience with my roommates. I've had 2 separate roommates in the past, so yeah, it's been pretty good.
How did you meet both of them?
So my freshman year roommate, I met on the Facebook group for like incoming freshmen, like getting to know each other. And then my first semester sophomore year roommate, we are like friends from home, so.
What did you like about having roommates?
Something that I like about having roommates is that there's always someone that like you can talk to, like if you have a good relationship with your roommates. When you're like in your room, typically they're there a lot too, so yeah, just having somebody to talk to is really nice.
And then what were more of the dislikes you had about roommates?
I would say that like sharing your own space is kind of difficult. In such a small room, you're kind of living on top of each other, especially if you don't loft your bed. You're constantly just on top of each other, which is pretty difficult.
And considering you're in a single dorm this semester, would you ever consider being roommates with anyone ever again?
I would say it depends on the situation. I really like living on my own, so I don't know if I would necessarily like live in the same exact room as somebody, but I would definitely like share like a house or an apartment with somebody.
Okay, well thank you for answering our questions. Thank you to everyone for answering my question, and thank you guys for watching this week's episode of College 101 on UWW TV. For more episodes, check us out at uwwtv.org.